Awesome. I am so excited to be welcoming Sonja McKaiser to Surrender is a Verb. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. So awesome to be here.
So I'd love to let everybody know that Sonja and I have been in each other's worlds for quite a few years. And when I say in each other's worlds, specifically online business building, coaching industry, we have both been each other's clients at one stage or another. We've been in each other's circles, communities. We've been witnessing each other and collaborating. It's been a wild ride, I think, for both of us. And I feel like we have both grown and deepened so much in the last, I don't know how many years it's been since we've been connected. Do you?
Yes, if memory serves, about 2017. So it's about 7 years already.
Wow. And look at us. Yay
Look at
us.
us.
Right? Because we have both. In 2017, I'm pretty sure I was still running the support room, the website and branding company. You
Yes.
would have seen me grow and develop into the soul coaching and into what I'm doing now. You were also dipping your toes into the coaching space. And I'm going to let you share your journey because it's been fabulous. And for both of us, there's been such a deepening into who we are. There's been an expansion for both of us as well, beautiful expansion, but the expansion comes from a deepening, and we haven't changed. You were always Sonja, I was always Nikki. We're the same people. It's just this deepening and expansion. So on that note, welcome. And I would love for you to share who you are, who you be, the magic of you, what you bring to this world, your joy with everybody listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nikki. And as you were sharing that, I realized how we met. I just realized, oh gosh, I remember clearly. We both belonged to an online space called Hello Boss Community. That's how we met.
Wow.
That's where our journey began. That's where it started. That's how we connected. And to date, we have not yet met in person.
It's so funny because I was thinking, have I met Sonja? I must have met her in person.
Which is so fascinating because you live in my hometown, right? Which I think is also what really connected us, was because you're from PE, now known as Quebec. Yes, so I started this journey, this entrepreneurship journey in 2017. And I was looking for a community, and that's how I found you on Hello Boss.
Right.
And initially, when I started my business, I knew that I wanted to work with women. That was such a deep desire of mine. And how my business started was I started hosting workshops, in-person workshops. And it was creative writing workshops, journaling workshops, vision board workshops. And I hosted them here in my home for women. And I loved that. It was just so thrilling. I absolutely loved the facilitation process. I loved having women here in my space and holding space for them. And then in 2020, COVID hit. And I could no longer host those workshops. But already then I had gone into the coaching world. And at the end of 2019, I started my NLP coaching training.
Yes.
And I completed my coaching training in March 2020.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. And then COVID hit, and I could no longer host the workshops. here in my home. And then I decided, well, I think we all decided we kind of had to go online. And I took my business online. I first started with the facilitation as I was deepening into the coaching aspect of things. I still hosted my workshops online. It was all so new. But what I really loved about the online space is that I was able to reach more women.
Yes.
And I remember during COVID, we did the Love Collective.
Yes.
And that was such a powerful community. And because it was online, we had such a huge
It grew
global,
so quickly.
Yes, it grew so quickly, global community, because everyone was in the same position. We couldn't go outside. We didn't quite know what to do. There was so much anxiety, and everyone was looking for a place where we could be nurtured, be held.
Yes.
And yes, the Love Collective was such a beautiful part of our journey together. And one of my biggest takeaways from COVID, I think, was being able to work online, because it is still what I do. And all my coaching is done online. Right now, I'm obsessed with supporting women in midlife, make midlife revolutionary, right? So women who are 40 and older to really claim this rite of passage that is midlife.
I love that. Make midlife revolutionary. And I'm listening to these words, and I have the joy of having you in front of me, and I can see you with these beautiful red headphones and the red in your scarf and the red lipstick, and it just feels juicy.
Yes. I love that you use that word. That word is my word for July, juicy July. So. And what I've realized on this journey is that the older I get, there is this profound wisdom, lived experience, acceptance, surrender into who I am becoming.
Yes.
And it feels like such an up-leveling, such a reverence. And what I found so interesting was that for the longest time, aging was this daunting thing, especially for women.
Yeah.
And the messaging that I got growing up was, oh gosh, stay youthful. Aging is all of these bad things. What no one really spoke to was
the gift of aging.
The gift, the privilege.
Right.
The knowing, the wisdom. All of these juicy things which I am now uncovering and really want to lean into and celebrate, because it is this powerful place to be, this rite of passage. And I want to bring other women with me.
I'm there with you. I feel it. Because I am 48 now, and there is definitely, when you start getting closer to 50, or when you past 50, even when you get to 40, there's this, I'm getting old. And
yes,
we immediately think that getting old is putting us at a disadvantage.
Absolutely.
And I've been going grey for these last 6 months. And I actually went to the hairdresser on the weekend, and he said to me, would you like to cover all your grey? And I said, no. And he said, I'm so happy you said that.
Yes.
Because it is glorious. Your grey is glorious.
Love it.
And it was refreshing for him to say that, because people don't necessarily embrace that. But that's cosmetic. More than going grey, it symbolizes the wisdom and the coming of age and the depth and the life experience. And oh, I think it's incredible. And I'm so excited to see you step into this space.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And what I love is that it feels like, and there's this generation of women who are at this age, who are realizing that we are not our mothers, our grandmothers. All the messaging we heard was, don't get old, or aging is not great, or it comes with all of these downsides. We're going downhill, and yet we're experiencing something else, and we're like, but wait, that's not quite what's happening right now. We've got so much wisdom that we want to share with others. We've got so much lived experience. We're feeling better than ever, and I think this self-acceptance, this sense of I'm really starting to know who I am. I don't want this to be the end. No, there's still so much more. In fact, this feels like the beginning.
Right.
And I feel this so much every day. There's this sense of, oh, I want to share this with the world, because I want the younger generation to realize that life doesn't end here. In fact, there's so much more. This aging is such a privilege. There is so much more living to be done.
Yeah.
Let us do that. Let us show others how we can make this revolutionary.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this settling into or igniting into, I'm not sure whether it's settling into or igniting into, perhaps a bit of both. Do you feel like you were always moving in this direction?
So I think it's yes and no. I know that in the back of my mind, I always knew, I had a sense, deep intuitive sense, that there was something more. But I also have such deep conditioning around aging and the need to stay young.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was this duality of these two things happening. The getting older and realizing that there's something there, and then the other side of the coin, which is, oh, but we need to stay young and youthful because that's what we've been told. I need to stay young and youthful because that's what I've been told. And I turned 50 in 2 weeks' time, and it's been such a reflective time for me, because I was asking myself the question, what does 50 feel like? Because people often say to me, you don't look 50. What does 50 look like?
True.
Right?
True.
I'm turning 50 and I look like this. So this must be what 50 looks like.
Yeah.
Right? So what is that about, looking like something? And again, right, the story we've been told, and maybe we have some evidence of what 50 looked like for us when we were kids, and the idea that 50 was old, right? And now that we're there and we look at ourselves, yes, we don't look like we looked in our 20s, but we also, this is what 50 looks like right now, right?
Yes.
This is what 50 feels like right now. And it's going to be different for everyone at that point. That's what I keep realizing. I keep coming back to, this is my 50 and this is my experience of 50.
Isn't that something that is a gift for all of us? Because actually it's all about how we are feeling. in the moment,
Absolutely.
in any
In
given
the
day, no
moment.
matter what the age is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it gave me such an opportunity to examine what the belief is that I have around this, right? Or the beliefs that I have around this. And there have been many.
Share with me some of
Yes.
those beliefs around getting old and being 50, and also being a woman
Yes.
who's aging.
Yes. Awesome. One of those things, well, there's been so many, right? The gray hair,
Yeah.
right? The story I have is that you don't show your gray hair. I mean, that's one of the signs that you're getting older. So you cover up your gray, right?
Yeah.
That story is so deep that when I see the gray, there's still a part of me that goes, oh, hey, yes. Right? And then there's the laugh lines and the wrinkles. And I actually wrote a post about this. There's this deep, deep belief I had that you can tell a woman's age by looking at her neck and her hands, right? Yes. And the story I told myself was, as long as my neck and my hands look good, then I am young. Hey? That's so deep.
So deep.
And this year I was looking at my neck and I was like, oh gosh, my neck is aging.
And you
No,
feel
Sonja,
it so deeply.
but this is who you are right now. If
Mm.
you, as you are learning to embrace your body, this is your body. This is part of the acceptance. This is what 50 looks like on you, you
Right.
know? And can we send some love and acceptance to those parts that don't look the way we think they're supposed to look?
Mm.
And remind yourself that this is what 50 looks like on you.
And that it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I get to be 50. That in itself is just such a privilege.
It's like when you look at photographs of yourself from 10 years ago,
Yes.
and you go, oh, wow, I was so beautiful. And then for me anyway, I've always had distortions or unhappiness about my body. So 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I was not happy in my body, thinking that I was overweight, thinking that I was too old. And now when I look
Right?
back at those photographs, I wish I looked like that now.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
just perspective. And if I had given myself the grace and the space to just enjoy my body for what it was at that point in time. So this is a beautiful base. Thank you. Because I'm thinking to myself now, when I look in the mirror later today, I'm going to look at myself with love for every part of my body as it is now and how I'm
Absolutely.
aging.
Absolutely. And I know that for many of us that may be a struggle, especially if we struggled our whole lives to love our bodies, right? And there is now this extra thing called aging on top of that, an extra layer, right? Because we may have waited our whole lives thinking at some point I'm going to love this body, right? And you're like, there's all this new stuff that's happening, there's a little bit of lines and sagging, and it's not quite going the way that I would have liked it to go. Because I know for me, my story was that at some point I'm going to be so in love with my body. And I kept waiting for that to happen.
Yes.
And I started to ask myself, but what if that time was now? What if that time was now? Because what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for?
Absolutely.
And it's been a very short period of time that I've really, really embraced this body. It's like with total acceptance. And there are moments I still go. I was recently at an event and I saw a photograph after the event and I was like, when I looked at myself. And then I was like, catching yourself not being happy with your appearance. And I was like, Sonja, you're so much more than that. But if we can't love everything that's happening right now, can we at least accept? Can we come from a place of acceptance? Because this body is what got us here. This body is what got us to this point. And to accept this body right now as the vehicle that got us to this point was just such a big shift for me. Just the appreciation for that. Without this body, I would not be here where I am right now, were it not for this body. And when I decided that, when I had that moment of like, oh gosh, thank you, body. I am ready to start accepting you as you are right now in this moment, as you are. Yes, there'll be times when I look at you and I don't like certain parts, but I'm going to accept and surrender. Because I think there's some surrender that comes with the acceptance. And that's not giving up. That is relinquishing the control. And I cannot tell you how much joy has come from making that decision.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is because it is surrender. It is surrendering into, leaning into, allowing. Surrender is allowance and acceptance and trusting in the body that you have. And in all my experiences of surrender, it's a shift in energy. There's a shift, whether it is in the moment or whether it is a continual slow burn, there is a shift in energy. And so that was going to be my next question, is because you said really it's only been a few months that you've really been loving and accepting and surrendered into this aging, this moment in time, turning 50, your body. So what has come from that?
One of the big things for me is joy. And two things happened in 2023. My cousin died suddenly in May 2023. He was very young. And that made me go, whew, we really only have now. And like I mentioned earlier, I was waiting for this time when I'm going to be in complete acceptance and love with me, right? Waiting, it's going to come some point.
Yeah, I'm doing all this work. It's going to come.
Yes. Not realizing that I need to decide it right now. I need to make the decision. And I made that decision a year ago. I made that decision. And I started taking care of myself in the best way I knew how, with intention. And I remember my coach had said to me at that time, I was sharing with her the challenges I have with taking care of myself. And I can take care of myself. I've always been able to take care of myself. But what I'm speaking about is to really, with intention, take care of this body. And I wanted to incorporate more movement into my day. And as you know, I am the queen of taking daily dance breaks, which is a great place to start, but I wanted to do something more. And I became really intentional about going for a walk. And how she supported me was, she said, focus on, instead of the doing of the task, focus on the feeling, how you will feel knowing that it is done. And so with that in mind, I went for a walk. Started off 10 minutes a day. Like going for a walk, moving more, 10 minutes a day, come rain or shine, because I was focusing on the feeling afterwards. Because the feeling afterwards, I always felt, yay, that feels
Feels so good.
I felt, because I felt completely in my body, right? I felt in my body. And so I kept focusing on that. And the more I kept focusing on that feeling of being in my body, I wanted to do more with my body. And I started doing cold water dips with the new moon and the full moon, right? And so this body that I didn't want anyone to witness in a bathing costume, I took this body down to the beach, and I was like, well, I'm doing this for me, And you know what I find so amazing is that the humans who are there on the beach, going into the ocean, they are all shapes and sizes.
Of course.
And I'm like, hey, there are so many more people who look like me than I could have expected.
Nobody really cares, right?
No one cares.
It's only you that has the issue.
And absolutely. And that's what I realized. No one there cares about me. They're all just there for them, that enjoyment of that moment.
Beautiful.
And the thing that blew me away the most was that the more in my body I am, the more connected to my intuitive wisdom I became.
Yes, of course.
Right? And it was just such a shift. It's like, really feeling this. Connecting to the body means connecting to the body.
Yeah.
On all the levels, right? And yes, there are going to be moments where I still don't love all the parts, but I accept this is it. This is my body. This is who I am in this moment. And this body can do so many amazing things. Can that be the focus as opposed to what it looks like?
Yes, and what needs to be improved.
Yes.
Because I think when we approach something like movement, and especially as women, when we have an ideal that we need to aim towards,
yes,
we're looking at movement in order to have the summer body.
Yep.
So the intention is outside of you. I'm trying to get over there.
Yep.
When we surrender,
yes,
and we love and accept our bodies in this moment, it becomes an honoring of our physical body and a nurturing and a nourishment. And so what does my body desire? Movement. And then you're moving, as you so beautifully shared, in the feeling of what that movement brings you, as opposed to I'm moving because I want to lose 5 kilograms.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
Our bodies respond to that.
So much. In fact, I wrote in my journal the other day about how things have changed for me and my body the moment I decided to get rid of weight loss being my focus.
Yeah.
That was no longer the focus for me. I was like, okay, can we take this off the table?
Yeah, I think that also is a very wisdom-filled. I remember being in my early 30s, and at that point I was doing kickboxing, waking up at 5 a.m, whatever it was. I loved it.
Yes.
There was an older lady who lived next door, and she came to visit.
Yes.
And I said, why did you come to kickboxing? And she was like, Nikki, I'm over the stage of trying to fix my body.
Mm.
I remember thinking, have you given up?
Yeah. Yes. It's not about fixing. And that really only comes from wisdom. The letting go of the need to fix. And I get that because that's all we've ever been told, right? There's this song called The Victoria's Secret. And the lyrics go, I know Victoria's secret. She's an old man who lives in Ohio.
Oh, I love that song. It's Jax.
Yes, Jax, yes. Right. And I'm like, you know that song, whenever I hear it, it's just like, yes, this is it, right?
Yes.
Victoria isn't even a woman. You know? But that was the goal, was like the Victoria's Secret model.
Yes.
What so many women aspired to in the 90s. And it wasn't even a woman. And that's just the insanity of it.
Yes.
Because we all bought into that.
Yeah.
That we need to look that way.
And often we need to look that way for our partner.
Yes, yes.
There's nothing wrong with getting dressed up and feeling good and enticing your partner. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But
yes,
it's the energy behind it, and it's doing it for yourself because you feel good about it.
Yes.
That's when you are naturally magnetic and radiating.
Yes, yes. And I think it's so permission giving to do that now. To do that now, wherever you are. To do that now. And to play with that now. Because when we become curious about it, because I see it all as an experiment. What can we experiment with? How can we try things on to see what it's like for us? Because another thing that I bought into is that if something is trendy, I need to be part of that.
Yes.
And that just because something's trendy doesn't mean it's going to be for you. And so for us to play with, experiment with, become curious about our bodies, who we are, what works for us, what do we like, what's fun for us, what's pleasurable for us, and to really become curious about that for ourselves.
Yes.
And feel into that now, not when because we keep postponing our joy by saying, when I lose 5 kilograms, when I fit into my 1999 bikini, when I wear my size 8 jeans again, only then. And so what if that never happens? Are we never going to be happy again? Are we just like, never going to experience the joy again?
And for somebody listening, because I can hear the devil's advocate in my one corner going, does that mean that you're just giving up? Does that mean that you're just going to let yourself go? Awful phrase that people used to use and still do.
Yes.
Oh, look, she's just let herself go.
Yes, yes.
What do you say to that?
Such a good question. And here's the thing about acceptance and growing older and wiser. Comments like that don't really affect us. Other people's opinions of us no longer matter as much as they used to. And I've really felt that when it comes to acceptance of my body. Because I keep coming back to doing this for me. My joy, my enjoyment, my pleasure, my body, my experience. Doing it for me. Not focusing outside of me, focusing inside of me. And yes, people will say the words, People will be mean. But here's the thing that I have experienced for sure. There are more people who say to me, gosh, you are glowing, you are joyful, you are courageous.
Absolutely.
You know?
Energy is contagious. And I mean,
Yes.
when you came onto this call, it was, oh, such beautiful, beautiful energy. And I think if I were to answer that question, a lot of people think that surrendering means you letting go and surrendering means you giving up.
Mhm.
But it doesn't. It's actually empowering. And if we bring it back to your beautiful work and this connection to your physical body that we've been talking about and aging and loving and accepting who you are and then nourishing your body from that energy, it's empowering. So it actually expands your world. And you know the story, you're trying to fall pregnant, and you're not falling pregnant. And then when you stop trying to fall pregnant, you fall pregnant. That happens to a lot of people. I think it's because of the energy behind it, that energy of trying, that energy of striving, that energy of achieving. And when we let that go and we just allow ourselves to be in the moment and enjoy our bodies in the moment and enjoy who we are in the moment, then we actually look after ourselves better.
Absolutely.
And our bodies will respond to that. And so often for people who want to lose weight, the moment you stop trying, yes, you can shift your energy and allow the weight of other people's expectations to fall off of you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And it's not about weight. It's about being connected to your body. And I love that you have experienced this deepening of your intuition, because I had that realization a year ago where I also made that connection between health and connecting to your intuition, connecting to your soul's intelligence, because we're just opening another channel. We are here in our bodies, just being connected to that body just creates this beautiful opening.
Absolutely. And again, I know that I've said it over and over. It is that intention, the intention of nurturing, the intention of taking care of, the intention of nourishing. One of the things that I preach over and over again is prioritizing ourselves, making ourselves the priority, taking care of ourselves. Because as women, often we are last on our list of priorities.
Yeah.
And so to shift from taking care of ourselves first as the priority, so that we can take care of the other things and humans that need to be taken care of.
And then we have more capacity and more space and more energy in order to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing that I think has really been handed over, and this is one of the generational patterns that we really need to explore more, is thinking that giving from a place of depletion serves anyone. It ties into abundance and lack. We can't try to be abundant or focus on abundance mindset and energy when we give from a place of depletion.
Another layer of that is the sense of, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I am giving from a place of depletion. That martyr energy.
Yes.
You're telling yourself, I'm such a good person because I am helping everybody first.
Yes, because we've been taught that. I mean, that one runs deep. We've been led to believe that that is something to be rewarded. But we show others, and this is how the cycle perpetuates, is we show the next generation how it's done by continuing to give from the place of depletion. And people learn by us showing them how. And so if we continue to show them, this is how you give, then that cycle just continues to perpetuate.
Yeah.
And so for us to now take a moment and say, okay, doing it this way no longer serves me or anyone who comes after me. And to be able to heal this for my whole lineage, I need to stop. I need to stop. I need to change this.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so powerful and it's so deep. And so for anyone listening, I'm really inviting you to just feel into that. There's another side of the coin as well. There's giving, giving, giving. And I used to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember offering so many sessions for free and not having the energy for it, but doing it anyway because at least I was serving.
Yeah. Yes.
And also having so many distortions around charging for my services. Because how can I really be of service if I'm charging?
Yes.
The truth is that I'm serving many, many, many more people now than I was then. And now I have the capacity to serve people who can't afford my services as well.
Right?
The capacity is tenfold, 10 times 10 times 10 what it was then.
Yep. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And that's because the place you're giving from now is an overflowing place.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about capacity, right? Once we're overflowing and once we've taken care of ourselves, in whatever that looks like, we can give from that place of overflowing.
How we are embodying what we are embodying now is what we are teaching future generations. I remember listening to DeMartini years ago, and he was saying that your values are determined by your actions.
Yeah.
And so you can say all of these things and have all of these beliefs about who you are and what you want to do in the world. But if you're not actually embodied in that, then
absolutely. And that's literally that's where the adage of walk your talk comes from, right? So it's about not just saying the thing, but being that too. And this is what making midlife revolutionary is about, right? It is about living all of that. So living the acceptance.
Yes.
Living the love. Living the joy. What does that look like? What does that feel like in my body? Focusing on what is the movement? How's the movement going to make me feel that? That is the absolute definition of making midlife revolutionary. Living it, whatever that looks like to you, knowing that there are going to be days when menopause is going to be all-encompassing and you're not going to feel good in your body. And to know that that's okay. And then to again focus on all the good stuff. And what does that feel like in your body? And there is always going to be the ebbs, the waves, the highs and the lows, like on this journey. I'm not saying it's all sunshine and roses. But it's the surrendering to all of that.
It's the living.
That's what it's the living. It's the living. It's the living. And that for me has been such a game changer. The opening up to all of that.
I love to say, yes, you can walk your talk. And then the next level is walking your walk. Let's walk our walk.
Yes, let's walk our walk. Let's walk our walk.
Oh, Sonja, that is just so beautiful. I'm so happy that you are here and that we've had this conversation and you've shared everything so beautifully and with such heart. And I can feel your message in my bones and in my body. Thank you for the gift of you and for being so open and sharing with such joy. It's been a real pleasure. I'd love for you to share, for anybody listening, where they can find you and if you have any programs that you are launching, anything that you want to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to have this conversation. And always such a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I feel like we always connect so deeply, and thank you for allowing this, for having the safe space for me to share so deeply, always. So where you can find me online, you can find me on Instagram at I am Sonja McKaiser. You can also find me on my website, sonjamckaiser.com. And if you are a woman who is in midlife, 40 or older, I also have a Facebook community called the Midlife Experiment, where you can come and join. We have conversations about getting older, about menopause, about everything that affects women 40 and over as we embrace this rite of passage called midlife. So those are the spaces where you can find me online.
Beautiful. I will also pop the links into the various places where this podcast will be shared. So
Great.
if you're listening, then just scroll down and you can find Sonja's links there. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for your time and your energy and your presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.